Today we're talking about moving scams. May is National Moving Month. Didn't even know that. So, yeah, I guess you got people, the kids moving out of college. I suppose it's time of year to buy a house and do some moving around, whatever the case may be. It's a lot of action in moving.
So May is National Moving Month, and it kicks off the busy summer moving season. If we think to the real estate market, the spring market is really hot. 60 days later, people are moving out, paired with college move-outs and new grads moving on to another place. So scammers have taken advantage of it, and there's a lot of scams in the moving industry. In 2023, BBB received over 6,000 complaints against moving companies nationwide. So check out your mover, and we're going to talk about some of the scams that take place in the marketplace.
All right. Well, first of those scams is just the straight up no show.
No show.
They just don't show up at all.
You get an estimate, you pay a deposit, moving day comes, you're really excited, you need to get out of your place, right? What happens? The movers don't show up.
Ugh.
That's only one of the scams that we're going to talk about.
This next one, and this is the one that always scares me the most, would be an upcharge. So you lay everything out, and you're like, okay, it's moving day, and then all of a sudden it's going to cost you extra to move something, or whatever hidden fee comes out of it.
Well, there's two scams in this category, one that we're going to talk about a little bit later, but this specific one, the upcharge, is when the move is done, you pay with your credit card, and when you receive your statement, they run more on your credit card than you had to pay. So by then, that mover can be long gone, and it may be a long time to get in touch with them. The best thing to do is to pay by a credit card, because when you pay by a credit card, you have more protections and you can dispute that. If you paid by a debit card or any other form of payment, your money could be gone.
That's just straight up stealing.
It
My
very well
gosh.
is. Yep.
Okay, well, I'm already mad, and then you got stolen items, another area that everybody I think is generally worried about. Just
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So these stolen items comes into play, which you had mentioned that you get a quote, they load your truck, and you arrive at the destination, and you're over the estimated weight. So you need to pay more, or they're going to hold your items hostage until you pay. So you have to watch out for that one too.
Hey, well, at this point, I don't want to move, but there's ways we can protect ourselves to move on a safe part here. So first one, watch for the warning signs. We just laid those out for you, but if any of those kind of ring, you got to, take action.
Those are some of the warning signs. Those aren't all the warning signs. Take a peek at their website. Are they licensed and insured? Are they really willing to give you that information? Any company that's legitimate should be happy to provide you the information on licensing and on insurance too. And are they contracted to go over state lines, or are they contracted to stay within the state? That's going to depend on what type of licensing they need too. So you want to make sure that they're properly licensed for your move. You also want to take a peek at their website too. Are there spelling and grammatical errors? Is there contact information on there? Do you get a good vibe talking to them? If your gut feeling is it sounds too good to be true, it very well could be.
And those are pretty good warnings. I mean, as you were talking about tips for watching that, those warning signs need to be on your radar before you start doing your research, before you get into even the moving thing. We got to be thinking of that. And then be wary of the unusual requests. This would just totally be wait, what?
Yep. If the mover asks for a large down payment or payment in full, that should be a red flag that something's not right. Are they going to show up on moving day? If your belongings become hostage, you do want to contact law enforcement for help on that. These are your personal items, things that you have saved for your entire life. You don't want to have to go ahead and replace these. There's heirlooms in there and special items. And
it's your stuff.
It's your stuff.
It is your stuff. It doesn't matter what it is,
expensive
right?
to replace. So if you're trusting your belongings in the hands of somebody else, you want to make sure that you're working with a trusted mover.
I always think, too, because I heard this from a friend of ours who moved. Their stuff actually was moved to a warehouse first, then put on a different truck. So it was two different moves, so to speak. And I was like, that sounds unusual to me, but common practice. But you got to ask lots of questions. You got to look for those things that stand out and then do follow-ups to make sure you know what's going on.
Yep, and there are those movers, too, that offer that service. If you are between homes, they can offer warehousing service, and that's something that you coordinate up front. If it's something that's being done without your knowledge, that should be a red flag that something could go wrong.
Get 3 estimates. So important. Don't just rely on one. You got to see what's out there.
This is so important. Moving costs are going to vary in general based on what you have, the company, if it can go on another truck with another load that's going near the same place. You want to get the details in writing. Get estimates from 3 different providers, and don't just rely on a phone quote. Don't rely on an internet quote. You want them to come on out and take a peek at your belongings so that you can get a really good estimate on what it's going to cost for that move.
You really do. And I would say, like, getting it in writing like 10 times over on this, like, I would want to, like, check mark every piece. Like, you are going to do this, right? You are going to.
And you should know when that's going to be delivered to, not within, oh, it'll be delivered in 7 to 10 days. You want a set date on when you can expect your belongings at your house.
And keeping an inventory of your belongings as well. I think this is huge, especially if you're moving long distance or the warehouse scenario that I suggest. I mean, you got to know where this stuff is and what you have.
That's so important to know. You don't want to be missing any items. And if you have an inventory packing list, you can double check the items that were put in the box and what came back out of the box. And usually when you move, especially if you're moving a household, you do have hundreds of boxes and you may not know that you're missing anything. So if you do need to file a claim for a missing item, a broken item, you know exactly what was in that box. And it's even good to take pictures of the items in the box so that you know that they went in the box undamaged.
I had done that on some big package that I was sending across country to pick up at the other side, and it got damaged. But I had snapped a bunch of photos with it all packed up and was able to get the claim out of there. It took forever, but so important, I think, to do that. You already mentioned pay with a credit card. Doubling down on that, it is so important because it's easier, not necessarily the process, but getting money back out of credit card versus debit card. There's protections.
Yep, that credit card is always going to have additional protections that any other form of payment may not. If there's an additional charge on your credit card, you're not going to be responsible for any fraudulent activity on it, unlike a debit card where it may take up to 3 months to get your money back. If any mover asks you to pay by wire transfer, gift card, Venmo, that should be a big red flag that it could be fraudulent.
And finally, report it. I mean, we all want our stuff to be protected, and these are, moving is going to happen in your life one way or the other. So reporting any of these things certainly helps us do these segments. When you come out and talk about these things, you're doing it because people reported it.
Regardless if you lost money, we'd like to know about it. bbb.org/scam tracker. You can report scams to it, and you can also search to see what's going on out there.
These aren't scare tactics, by the way. I mean, this is really, let's put our mind at ease that we can move safely by taking these steps. We're going to stay safe and catch these fraudsters if we find out that they exist.
And do your homework. bbb.org is a great place to start to look for a moving company.
Tiffany, thank you so much. Great tips again, and we'll look forward to having you back next month.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.